Hi, I'm Gary Klaus from Genesis Rescue Systems. This is Randy Williams, our regional representative out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We're here in Baytown, Texas with the Baytown Fire Department doing a little bit of video training, the second partner series of RAMs. This is C-Shift Station 2, and as they like to say, it's 2 on the street, but 1 in the hearts of Baytown residents. We'd like to thank them for their participation. Today we're going to go over RAMs, and we'll see you in a second.
We want to get the hood off first?
Yep.
Or are we going
Let's
to
go ahead and get everything?
Let's go ahead and get the hood off. Somebody can grab a Sawzall and we can cut this with the Sawzall. Somebody grab the cutter. Let's open it up all the way and we'll cut the other side with the cutter. Somebody can grab. Now, I use a Diablo. This is a pruning blade. It has 3 teeth per inch. You want to keep your head down, your mouth shut. Always wear eye protection. It's not a bad idea to have a mask on. If you don't have a mask, usually what I do is I take a deep breath and I just breathe out while I'm doing it so nothing's coming up and getting into my respiratory system. But you drag it in. This is a pruning blade. Where I come from, you're gonna have cars down in the woods, down in the sticks. So if I have a branch here in my way, I can cut that out of the way. They make nibblers that will cut glass as well. That's just the reason I don't care for that tool, is that's the only thing that tool does. If you have one, it's great to use. But if you'll notice, the majority of everything comes out. That way it's pulling everything out. I'll let you guys finish that off for me. Just take it all out like you would a roof.
Let's go ahead and pop that trim off, if you'd be so kind, just to check for any type of pyrotechnic charges behind the post. So we're clear on one side. That tells us we're going to be clear on both sides. Okay, let's go ahead and take the rest of the glass out. Let's go ahead and cut that back deck lid off also, and we'll take that back window out.
Right there?
Yeah.
So one of the things you want to watch out for, okay, you never want to get your hand up inside the vehicle if at all possible. So when you break the back glass, don't be afraid to just poke a little hole in and then get the rest of the glass out with your hand. If you have to, put the tool on top of the roof and then just kind of fling it out. Don't just fling it like crazy, but just get it out of the way for future. Some of it's going to fall down in there. There's nothing you're going to do about that. So here's a little tab, and give it a little zip. There you go. Now you can just kind of cut down straight here and come down. So just come literally, lay it right down the side. Grab that for a second, would you please? So when you throw it in there,
yep,
take your Sawzall and walk it this way. So it comes down. If you go like this, you'll bend it. So we're just gonna have you take this and slide it right down the side. There you go. Perfect. Now you just have to see what else is holding us in there and just pop her out.
Usually 4 to 6 bolts on top, 2 always on bottom.
So as we're working on this, we're going to start taking both doors and the B-post off at the same time. So let's go ahead and grab the cutter and the So as you can see, we've taken this fender completely off. Now we can expose the hinges and the type of hinges that we have. Now in some instances, it's going to be better to come from the hinges. For today, we're going to do a 2-door rip and blitz, taking both doors and the B-post at the same time to give ourselves a nice opening access space. You want your Sawzall guy to make sure this is nice and clean so everything's out of the way for best performance on the tools themselves. So take your Sawzall and get all this crap out of the way too.
All right.
So here's the reason we're doing that, just so you guys know. You can leave this, just take the plastic. So if you try to get in here with a cutter, that plastic of that fender liner is gonna stop your cutter every single time. So your Sawzall guy takes everything out of there. It should be just raw steel, okay?
When you look at this, the only thing that's holding this inner fender on is that little piece of plastic there and down here at the bottom. So you can literally just slide that right in there and cut that. If you have a Halligan, you can come in and hit it real hard and it'll peel off as well. And now you're gonna have to cut all the way down through there. So what we do is we set our base first. That's what we want to do. We want to set our base, and then I get in line with my tool. Okay, so being in line with my tool, I can drive that tool up and down. So we want to set our base to where we catch the interior of the door. We want everything to swing out, and we want this to go straight up, right? Yep. Okay, so open it up. So we can tell when, right? Perfect. So now as you can see, with the angle of your tool, you can see this is pushing straight up and this is going to swing out, and that's exactly what we want. And I want to get out of the way.
So at the same time we're doing this, your cutter can come up and cut the top of the B-post at the same time. If the B-post is too tall for you, don't be afraid to put your hand underneath it, cradle like a baby's head. Go ahead, fire it up and get ready to go. All the way up, as high as you can get it, and start to make your cut.
When you get it tight, stop for a second. When you get it tight. Because one thing that we want to make sure that we've done, we want to make sure we identify where that seat belt nader is and make sure we're not trying to split it, because if it shoots off, it's going to come off fast and in a hurry. So we've identified where that is. It's right there. Some of them move up and down, so you're good to go.
So hold on one second. So here's the key when you're cutting with a cutter. It doesn't matter whose cutter you have, okay? I'm just gonna move this for a second because I shut off after 30 seconds. So what I want you to do is keep your hand very loosely here. Just pull the trigger. It's going to walk left to right, just let it. Don't try to stop it. Pull it hard, go ahead. Pull the trigger, just keep your finger pulled. So that tool's gonna move you left or right. You're not gonna stop it. As long as you keep your hand on the control mechanism of the cutter that you're using, either it's gonna go or it isn't. Now at the same time, believe it or not, you can keep going to get that door out because he's captured the B-post. Go right ahead.
Okay. When we're doing this,
don't let go. There you go. Good.
The one thing you want to be doing, I call it eye scan. I want to be scanning with my eyes. I'm here,
all the way over.
I'm here,
Perfect.
I'm here, I'm here. When this gets to such a dramatic angle, it's going to want to drop inside the compartment, and that's not what I want. So we've done what we need to do, so now we can pull out. Okay. So as we come in, we want to start high, because the idea is to fold this portion of the door off of that horseshoe nader pin, all right? So we want to start high and get this out of the way so we can get penetration. Penetration is going to be what we're looking for here.
Sorry,
right. Well, no, hang on. When I say high, I mean high on the door. We want this to be down.
Okay.
I want to be about right there.
Okay.
Stop. Is what we're looking for. Hard metal there, hard metal here. So we're gonna give it just a little bit more. Stop. Now we want to get in here so we can get that hard metal to pop.
I'm gonna stop you for 1 second, Rand. So if you guys see this happening, if you see that skin starting to peel, stop,
right there.
Reposition your spreader so you can get a better bite on top of that nader pin. Ready? Go ahead. And stay right there, don't move. So sometimes you're gonna get this. This happens in a real extrication. We've got a little bit of a wonky bite, doesn't really matter, or the car's rusty and crappy and it comes apart like this. Here's where the communication between your spreader and your cutter come into play. Cutter should always be wide open and ready to go. It should never be partially closed, okay? If he needs the cutter to come in, he's gonna close that spreader up, get out of Dodge as fast as possible, and your cutter's gonna come in. Close her up, get on out of the way, go, go, go. Come on, cutter. And you're just gonna cut that flat piece right down there if you can get it. Get as much of that as possible. See the metal? Hold on. Hold that like there, would you?
Yes, sir.
So,
don't let it whip you.
So if you come this way a little bit, right? So see how this crap's in your way? Yep. You may want to come down this way to capture everything. Okay. So take a bite as flat as you can get it. Try to get everything captured. There you go. Perfect. Sorry. Talk for 30 seconds. Now you got it. You got it. Take a bite. Excellent. Open her up. Now we may have to give a little bit more spread on here because of the condition of the vehicle.
I don't know.
Possible. Let's see. Did we get it?
All the way through.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't cut
That's all right.
You're just gonna keep passing metal through.
Good. You got it. We get it?
No.
Now we're going to show you one other thing. So, where you at, Scott? Look at me, would you?
Went all the way through.
That's all right. Look at me. So we made a couple of cuts, and because of the angle of our cutter or because of the condition of the steel, we didn't quite get what we wanted to get. All is not lost. The key for us is to stop. Hey, wait a minute, it's not quite working. Can I cut it with my Sawzall? Is my blade good to go? Is my blade long enough? Or do I just need to take my cutter and bring it right over the top of my locking mechanism? Each one is proper. Don't get tied up or locked into one thing. Remember, most fire departments have plan A, plan B, plan C, right? Well, in an extrication, that's crap. We have plan A harder, plan A, no shit, I'm really getting plan A this time, and now I'm just flat out pissed. Allow the tools to work. Grab your cutter, drop it right here. So come in from this side. I'm gonna position you so you capture that. There you go. Come in, back up just a little bit, just like so, and go. You got it. Keep your finger on the trigger. Let's see if we captured everything. There you go. Cool. So, now, if we need to make a little bit more space at the bottom, you know what, I'm gonna borrow your cutter for one more second. Randy, you got your cable cutters on you? Just give me a little nip so this is out of the way, would you? Just so it's gone so we can get rid of it. There you go. So, if you guys take a look at the spreader, right? Bring your spreader in down low. Okay, I'm gonna position you. Hold on. So, off your knee. No, stand up. You're gonna come just, I'm gonna position the spreader like so. See the angle?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Good. All you need. So if you guys take a look at the spreader angle, everybody wants to leave that tool locked on their body. If you leave that tool locked on your body, it's going to stay in that position. It has no other chance. It's never where you're comfortable, it's where the tool needs to go. Does that make sense? So if you got to be uncomfortable for a second, now we've got a nice deep bite available on the bottom of the B. Go ahead and pull that out of there. And I'm gonna have you come in with your cutter. Come right here. I'm gonna take this handle, maybe get that stupid thing all the way here. All right. And you're gonna come just like so. Start to make your cut and stop. So, you guys come on in here and take a look. Take your camera and put it right down into there. What we want is that outside blade to be on the B-post, but not digging into the rocker panel. A lot of times what we'll do is we drop it down into the rocker panel as deep as possible, think we're getting a lot more steel. The problem with that is if we sever that rocker panel, we've lost all the structural integrity that we want to use. This is where your discipline comes into play. You want to make sure that we're just on the B-post, but not cutting in two. Go ahead and pull your trigger. Good. Open her up. So now you're going to grab your spreader and come back in. So you're going to put your spreader below that cut. Hold on a second. I'm going to move back here for you. Okay. Nope. So bring the ass end up in the air. All right. And now you're going to turn it a little bit this way. Follow me?
Yep, okay.
Just below the cut.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what you got. Keep going. And And stay right there for a second. So if you guys take a look where his spreader tip is on the inside, right? I'm gonna take that from you for 1 second. So the spreader tip is below the cut and the outside arm is there, right? This is going to swing back towards him. Just be very cognizant of that B-post, right? So if you got to step back just a little bit, pull your trigger. I mean, hold on to the spreader, of course, but go right ahead and see what you got. Go about a ½ inch more and stop. Good. So now, if you guys take a look at our B-post displacement, see how it's moved past where our rocker panel is? We didn't get a massive bite on that with our cutter, and you're going to have that in the real world. That's not a problem. One thing that we want to do is get this out of our way, and then we have to decide, do I need to make a deeper bite down there, or can I adjust my spreader to get the entire B-post and everything out all at one time? What do you guys think?
You need enough bite off that seatbelt to pop them over to the spreader.
I would say we probably could.
Yeah.
Can you hold that for me?
Sure.
Thanks. So I'm going to have you close that sucker up. Right? Close her all the way. No, don't leave. Come back. You're going to come right up, but you're going to go low, right where you were, only inside. I'm going to have you go right here, right? Now we're going to give it a little bit of a slight angle, start to give it a push, and you may have to do it a couple of times. Go ahead. And stop, close up, close all the way up. There you go, close her all the way up. There you go, good. Now watch your inside arm. And we're going to do it one more time. We're going to come one more time, close it all the way up, like so. Go. Keep your finger on the trigger. Let's see what happens. Nice. So, what do you see holding us?
Gold wires.
A little bit of cable. What's really good for that? Battery cable cutter. Cutter should be right on top of it. Sawzall, anything like that. By not letting it just fly, by going in there to take a couple more bites, you're catching all the strength of that car to your advantage. Does that make sense? Now we can open it up. If you practice this, 2 trained guys can do this in about 90 seconds. Would you agree with that, Randy? Maybe a little bit more, a couple of minutes.
A lot of it depends on the construction of the car, the age of the car. The older the car, the easier it's going to rip. Ultra high strength metals, they don't rip near as well. So you want that recognize and identification. I want to identify what kind of car I have. If I have ultra high strength metals, probably not going to go to this, probably going to go to another move.
So this is what you guys are working with, okay? If you don't have a whole lot of space to get in here, don't be afraid to use those brute tips right from the get-go. Make yourself a couple of gaps, right? Get on top of the hinge, pop, pop. Give yourself a little bit of space. If you can't get all the way around a hinge, you're going to try to hinge cut, which is very difficult for anybody's equipment. Doesn't matter whose it is. And you'll hear the pitch of that power unit change, right? You'll hear the pitch of the motor go, and it'll rev up, and you won't get the performance. So you guys go ahead and grab that. You can come from the back or the front, whatever you like, your choice. Give yourself a little bit of gap. You can either pop them off with that, or if you want to spread them, you can do that too. So tell me what you want to do.
I'm just going to spread it off.
If you spread, start at the top and work your way down, just like you're peeling a banana. Nope, on top of that hinge. There you go. Get you some room. Okay, stop. Drop the tips right down on that top of that hinge.
Close her all the way up.
There you go.
So hold on. So I'm going to back you up a little bit. Okay. You get on the other side of the tool. If you guys come right here and just take a look. So come horizontal, right? Don't leave it resting. And if you guys take a look at the inside tip right here, right? See all that? That's a lot of steel. When you come in from the top, remember that this thing may wing open. Never leave a tool resting on your body, because that means you will adjust the tool instead of where the tool needs to be. Does that make sense? Yep. Go ahead and pull the trigger. Let's see what happens. Keep going. Hold on to the tool. There you go, good. Now, come right here, pop that off too. Close her all the way up. Always start closed, but get it off your hip. There you go, good. There's 2, got it? You're good, you're good. Now you can do the last one. Now, the closer you get it to the hinge itself, the more success you're going to have. You got it. It's all as efficient as possible using that tool. All right, so good. Let's talk about what we just did, right? Come on down here. So, one of the things that we have to watch for when we're doing this, right? If you guys come in here and take a look right there, you have a center console that you cannot see through and bucket seats. That means there is at least one transmission down tube or one transmission tunnel support buried in there. They are never easy to get to, right? And we have people ask us all the time, well, how am I supposed to cut that if there's a patient in there? And the simple fact of the matter is, I can't tell you exactly how. The key is for you to know it's there. You may have to have one of your people come from the other side because you want to be able to cut through that strap. If you guys have ever been lifting and instead of the entire dash rolling up, it hinges right by the passenger compartment, right by their feet, that means that one of those straps, and sometimes two, are in there, right? They are a problem for us. Now, if all we need is a little bit of distance, it's no big deal. We can just go ahead and give our lift, right? But if it becomes a problem, you want to make sure you get somebody on that far side making those cuts. Get the plastic crap out of your way, try to cut that bar down. And again, we're going to walk through this real nice and slow. So if you guys come on over this way, let's take a look. The more of this crap we get out of the way, the better it is. Now we have steel and steel that we can work with. If we leave the plastic, rubber, and weather stripping in the way, your tools are going to slide constantly. Does that make sense to everybody? So in a way, we've kind of screwed ourselves right here, right? We have no B-post to push from. Does that make sense to everybody? So what we're going to have to do is attempt to push more straight up, if at all possible. Here again is where coming into play, if we cut down too far on our A-post, we lose all the structural integrity that we can use to push the dash up. We also want to see any weak areas here that we can exploit. Do we need to do this with a spreader? Do we need to do this with a ram? Can we weaken the front structure to get this to hinge in on itself? That makes sense to everybody? Okay, each one's going to be a little bit different. As Randy said, reading the rec. If you can read this rec, it'll tell you basically, hey, here's where you need to cut. If something goes south, if it's not going where you want it to go, don't be afraid to stop. Make the extra relief cut, make whatever cuts you think you need to make. Even if it takes a couple extra seconds, better we stop, correct the action, and then get it to go where we want it to go, as opposed to, hey, it's just gonna let go and go where it should. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Rand, let me ask you a question. Come on over.
What?
So, you guys don't have a ram at all, right? Now, have you guys been on the rigs that had rams? Okay, so what would your guys do in this situation? Normally.
If you need to move the dash.
Yeah.
Maybe a V-cut.
Yeah, V-cut there,
Okay.
Do a modified dash lift.
and then you can maybe spread that more with the spreaders and ram.
Okay, good. And you do have rams on the other rigs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever watch their guys, what they do with rigs? Do they ever cut way down low and then try to unhinge everything? Have you guys seen that done also?
Not real fast.
That's one of the older techniques where they'll come in with a ram and they'll cut way down here
They'll
and
cut
they'll push from
45.
somewhere here. The issue you have with that a lot of times is this becomes your pivot point. So it comes right up off of your stabilization. And if you've ever watched that ram like let go, then the car goes boom and slams back down, which is exactly what we're trying not to do. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So, Rand, you tell me. What do you want to do? You want to just cut it with a Sawzall? You want to get the ram in there, make some relief cuts up there?
I'd probably use my cutter.
All righty, let's grab your cutter.
The one thing I do want to talk about here though,
Okay.
do you know what these 3 bolts are? For me, they're indicators. That tells me what kind of dash bar I have. If I have these 3 bolts, I know behind there, I don't have to look at this. Normally, when I get the door off, the first thing I do, come in here, and I get that inspection plate off so I can see in there and I can see what kind of dash I have. You have 3 types right now that are predominant. You have the dash bar, like that's bolted to, then you have a C channel, and then you have a square channel that runs. The C and the square are bolted and glued to the back of this firewall. So doing a no-cut dash lift, I can look in here and I see that I have a dash bar here. I can do a no-cut dash lift. If I don't have this, I look in there and I don't see that I have a bar, and I've got either square tubing or C channel, can't do it. That's part of that recognition and identification. I want to get this stuff out of the way, take a look at it, see what I got. Something that we've started doing, now that I see I have these bolts, I carry a man versus machine. I'm using an impact and I'm sliding them off, and I've got a very easy dash lift.
Cool. Let's grab our cutter. So put the outside tip right into there. You got it. Sure. And stop right there. So you guys can take a look how putting that pole in between is going to stop the migration of that cutter into your passenger compartment, okay? You do not want to do this with fiberglass or wood. This has to be a steel pole. Fiberglass or wood, there's going to be an extra page on Ambulance 2's report. They really frown on that, just so you know. Okay, go ahead, hit it. Keep your finger on it, don't let go. And you can feel the pressure of that moving in. Excellent.
You see it
Open
already
right back
move.
up. Come
The
around, do
car's
same
under
thing, nice and
tension.
horizontal, if you would.
The critical thing here is making sure you get through those seams, because that's where the strength is in those seams.
You're fine. You're good. Are you done? Yep, I think you're done. All right. Open it all the way up. All right, so if you guys come down here and take a look real fast. Come on down. So this is what you need to see, right? If you're the boss on scene, take a look inside there. See how that last piece of steel has not been cut through? This happens all the time. The reason we want those cuts as horizontal as possible is now when somebody looks in there and says, hey, wait a minute, we're not cut, right? Because all that's going to happen now is that piece of steel is going to stay together. When we go to lift, it's basically going to just hinge itself right out. This is why when you have those big hinge pillars, that you want to be able to get your Sawzall to follow it straight through, right? You don't necessarily have to wiggle it all the way through, but you want to make sure you see this. If it's nighttime, bring the flashlights off the truck and always take a look through here. Because once it starts going south, it's going to continue to go south. Does that make sense? Better we get all this cut right from the get-go, and then we can continue on. And this cut can be made at the same time that we're making a relief cut there, if a relief cut is called for in this situation. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so let's grab our Sawzall, cut that little bit right there, and then we're gonna grab our cutter and make a relief cut. So grab me that Sawzall real fast, and just what I want you to do is just give me a little cut. See right here? Yep. Just skim cut me, don't go deep, just skim cut that plastic crap right there. Just a little bit of plastic, go ahead. Perfect, now we may be able to pull this crap out of the way, okay? Right, and we don't even necessarily have to. Here's the key to this. If you guys look right in here, you can see daylight. Randy, you got your little pen light?
Yes.
Can I have it? Thank you. You guys see the daylight in there? Even that little bit of relief cut right there may be all we need to get this dash to come up. You can see how far back the strut tower is on this particular car. So cutting here is not going to do us a whole lot of good. But if we can weaken the structure in any way, shape, or form, and you can see right here, I've already got half of my relief cut made. These are not always perfect. Each one is going to be a little bit different, but you want to identify any of these areas that we may use to our advantage, and it takes a couple seconds to do. Okay?
How many have ever been taught to take your spreader and pinch this to create that hinge point? What's that do though? If my dash is on my patient, what's it do to that dash? It pushes it down. There's a better way.
So here's another thing that we can do depending on how big it is and depending on how big your cutter is, okay? Somebody want to grab the combi tool, please. So open your combi tool up, come right this way and catch here and here, just with the tips. Don't cut it, I'm just gonna have you pinch it, right? So hold on, turn this way. I'm gonna have you back up a little bit. Go ahead and back up, by the way. Go ahead, 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 go ahead. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, now stop, open her up. Readjust just a little bit more. There you go, now go. Good, stop right there, open her up. So this is where you guys with your 7T come in, and I'm just gonna have you turn towards me real fast, right? So this is, you're gonna take this, you're gonna pop these out, you're gonna open that cutter up, and you're gonna drive it right into there. Okay? Sorry.
I did that.
Just like that. Just get the tiniest little relief cut. And good, stop right there. That may be all we need to get this to move where we want it to move. Does that make sense? Taking a quick second, the problem you're gonna have is when you have a combi tool, when those tips are on there, once those tips make contact, you crush the material, you're not gonna get it to go through any further because they will not cut. So if you take a second, you can pop those tips off. It may give you just that extra little advantage, right? So now we're gonna cut up here. So let's grab your combi tool. Now I'm gonna have you come straight up over the top, right about there. Perfect. There you go. Hold on. Drop right there and go. You're okay. Good. Excellent. Open her up. And stay right where you're at. LT, can you hold that for 1 second? All right, so if you guys take a look right here, okay? Here is the cut that we just made. Everybody with me? If they stay together and you think it will jam as you roll up, slide either up or down and make another cut. If the top falls over the bottom, slide up, make another cut. If the bottom pops free, we can ram, we can spread, we can do whatever we need because nothing in here is going to jam up. Very critical if you have the newer cars with that higher strength steel, because once this makes contact as you're pushing, you'll see a change in the attitude of the other tool that you're using because this becomes stronger because it's jamming steel against steel. So slide me up, make me another cut if you'd be so kind. Get her all the way in there as deep as you can. So, there you go.
You all have the tip to have the chain. That's
Good. All right, drop them.
Yep.
Perfect. Anybody got a knife on them? Oh, there you go. Perfect. Better with a knife, believe it or not. Okay. So, come on over to this side. Let's take a look. So, how many inches do we have from here to here?
36.
Could be, right? This is where your knowledge of the equipment that you're carrying is absolutely essential, okay? If I have a ram that's going to push 31 inches and I've only got 4 or 5 inches of travel on that ram itself, I may have to go to the next size ram, or I may have to have an extension on that ram to begin with. Does that make sense to everybody? A great little rule of thumb, and again, this is not something you're gonna do on the street, but it's just something you may wanna do at the station, right? Take a look around. So from here to here, I've got 33 inches, so you're pretty close on the money, right? So if I have a 31-inch ram, am I gonna do anything here?
Nope.
If I have a 36-inch ram, am I gonna do anything? I may get a little bit, but not a lot. Do I need a larger ram? Do I need an extension? All of these things come into play. Does that make sense to everybody? So we wanna make sure we're sizing the spreader or the ram that we used to what we have in place, okay? Different manufacturers have different rams and ram configurations, pieces and parts that you can put onto them. So when you guys are with the other rig or they come in to give you a hand, don't be afraid to get their ram accessory box. If they have one out, you never hand somebody an extension without a head on it. Does that make sense to everybody? Screw the next head on there, so as they unscrew the head on the ram, you're giving them an extension, 5-inch, 10-inch, whatever it may be, with the top of that ram head already on there, okay? So if you guys take a look over here, you guys can see, we have 2 different size rams. One is a 2136, one is a 2254. So which would we probably want to start with?
2254.
The 2254, right? And here again is where getting a nice tight angle really makes all the difference. So if you have a rocker panel ram support, you can clamp it on, right? Put it on the rocker panel itself, clamp down with your spreader, and then you can spread from one of the other 2 positions. You never put your ram in the same space as where your spreader is clamping it down. As we talked about earlier, you also don't want to clamp down with your spreader on a rocker panel and then off angle the pressure of a ram into there. It's never good for the ram. There's not one manufacturer out there that would ever recommend that to you. Does that make sense to everybody? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our ram into place. We're basically just gonna put it from here to here, and we're gonna start to lift up nice and slowly to see what happens. That make sense to everybody? So if you take a look, you got the telly?
Yep.
All right. So one of you guys, let's come on over here and let's grab this. I don't care who does it.
One thing to look at here, I want you to see, you got 2 stages. So when we get to the second stage, okay, there's your second stage. It speeds up. You've also got etching on here. It tells you how much room you have left. 8 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, okay? So that'll tell you how far you are.
Painfully slow. It's getting all that fluid back in there.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's try to get that as straight up as down as possible, right? But you're gonna put it, so you guys come on over. LT, come on over with the camera.
Yes, I want to
So
take
put that
plastic
hump
off real
right
quick.
in the middle here. You guys take a look. We wanna put that right in the middle of your weld flange. If you just put it right here, a lot of times this is rusty and it'll weaken, right? So we're gonna have you roll your handle to the outside, right? And then let's see if we can take a bite right there. You may wanna move the bottom back just a hair. Okay, just come back just a bit. There you go. All right, so let's go right up into there. Other way, there you go. Just keep going up, and then when it misses, stop. Stop right there. Okay, so take a look. You guys all see this? So because of the position of our ram, we're not going to get a good bite on this particular post. Does that make sense to everybody? Again, this is one of those tiny little things that makes all the difference in the world. What's your first name?
Garrett.
All right, Garrett, here's what I want you to do. You're gonna put your hand on this ram and you're gonna slide back just like 6 or 8 inches. Who has the Sawzall? Somebody wanna grab the Sawzall? So here's what I want you to do, Jason. Just cut me this little plastic trim right there. Just come straight down, cut the crap out of the way. Thanks. So you want to make sure that all that crap is gone. Trying with north south, be patient. So this is crap. This is crap. Now hold on. So take this and just cut me right here. What I want is this piece gone. Okay. There you go. Cool. So now let's slide her back in where you were. Right. And now close her up. Now you come right here. Go ahead, give it a little bit of a push and stop. So literally just by cutting that little piece of plastic crap out of the way, we got our ram right in there, and it takes a couple seconds to do. All right. So now we're going to take a look at a couple different things. We're going to watch to see if this crushes. We're going to see if we get any movement here and what's going on the inside. Put your hand right on the cylinder, just like so. Nice and easy up. Go ahead. Nice and easy up. Go ahead. And stop right there. So take a look right here. See how we're starting to tear right there? That tells us a couple of different things. A, we want to make sure everything is cut through here. Did we get all this cut through? We didn't, right? And we can tell because the weakened structure is collapsing. We didn't cut through here, and we can see that we're already starting to hinge, right? So let's grab our Sawzall and cut this out. There
Did
you
you
go.
see
You
it
guys
move?
see that pressure relief? Okay, nice. Now, so here's the other thing we're going to have to watch for, right? We've already started a tear right here. This is now our weakening point. So give me a little bit of up. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So, if you guys take a look at what just happened, because we missed that little piece of steel, the effectiveness
I'm
of
in
what we
there,
wanted to do to
You see
begin
where
with
that
is now
I'm gonna
compromised. Does
flip
that make sense to
and I'm gonna
everybody?
run that.
Okay, so now we have a couple of other options with the ram.
A lot more
Okay,
hinge
go ahead and
point.
close your ram all the way up. So let's take a look.
Combination with the ram.
Drop it on. You guys come around to this side. So now you can
I'm just
see
getting it in there. I
that we
won't need that
really
ram.
don't have, there's not going to be a whole lot of success. But as Randy was talking about, look at the dash pipe that's right up in there. Does everybody see that? So, dependent on the passenger compartment or where they're sitting, we may be able to get our ram right down onto the base here, right? Right down onto there, and try to angle it right up into that pipe. Okay? Let's go ahead and set her down there. Right on the base if at all possible.
You got to put that base on something strong.
Yep.
If you just put it
Gotta
on
put it
the
on something
floorboard,
solid.
it's
All
going
right,
to
nice
punch
and easy.
right through it. That is very weak metal.
Now put it closer to you. There you go. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. And stop right there. So here's a couple things you guys want to watch out for, right? Come on over and let's take a look. If you guys come over here and take a look. So see how we've got metal on metal right here? If we continue to push, you're going to cause a gouge in that. So we have to be real cognizant of that. The other thing is, and I'm going to just have you reach in, you can just let that go. Pop that plastic crap off. No, the piece on the bottom. Here you go. Somebody got my pry bar? So, there you go. Take a look. Never mind. Thanks, Rand. So take a look. You guys see that piece of steel right there? That little tiny piece of steel right into there is going to screw us on getting a good extrication. Something that small. And this is where you may have to have somebody come from the other side. Can you guys see okay? All right, does that make sense to everybody? So we got a couple other things going, right? One, we want to make sure we're not scratching. So what can we do? If we guys take a look right here, maybe I can get this piece right here to kind of push up in and protect ourselves. We also want to make sure we're cutting that, right? And yes, again, when somebody's watching this at home, the first thing they're going to say is, well, how are you supposed to do that if there's a 300-pounder sitting in there? Can't tell you. Come from the other side. The key is for you to know it's there and know it's going to cause us a problem. So let's go ahead and take your ram out of there, right? Keep your hand out right there. Go ahead. You got it. Okay, take her all the way out. Now, I'm just going to have you hand it out to him real fast. If you want to grab that rocker, that mechanical ram there,
The yellow.
that yellow thing on the end, and let's go ahead and pop it onto that 17. Let's go ahead and grab that. Somebody come in here and cut me this relief cut right here, right? So just cut me down there, whatever you can cut me.
Take that GoPro and put it in there.
Got it? If you get it down low, there you go. You got it. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, because you guys are used to working with a combi tool. We're going to throw that combi tool on. Let's see how much lift we can get. Okay? Now you're going to put this right here, right on the edge, and you're going to lift the ass end up a little bit, and you're going to angle it right underneath that. Go ahead. Start the spreader open. Turn around, and you got it. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Go ahead. 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 Watch your top. A little bit more. That's all you got. Good. Stop right there. So, you can see how just by making that tiny little relief cut in there, and you can see on the far side how we're clear. Everybody see that? So on this particular vehicle, there's only one support. If there is only one, it is usually, but not always, on the driver's side. Does that make sense to everybody? So take a look at how much room we've made. Okay, here's the other thing you want to look at. So take a look here. You guys come on over here and take a gander. We made that last little cut, gave us a whole lot of distance, and we basically hinged right here without moving the front of the vehicle. Now here's the next thing you want to keep in mind. Because we've given it somewhere to go, would you be so kind to take that, or whoever had it, go ahead and take that, that tool down, and let's see if we kept any distance.
Your recoil is usually 3 to 4 inches.
So, look how much we kept. Had we not made those relief cuts, chances are that the tension on that steel would have brought this down a whole lot further. It wouldn't have come back to its original position, but it would add a whole lot of tension. So now let's take a look what we can do if we use that ram. LT, can I have you hold that? So let's bring this ram in, right? You're gonna kind of do the same thing. Let's see if we can get it to bite right down here on that nub, right up into where you were, right? We're gonna have it close her up. and you're just gonna bring it right up into here. Go ahead. Just like that. Perfect.
I'm good, thank you.
Keep your hand on the ram and stop right there. So you guys take a look. Because we're not on anything super beefy and because we still have all the tension, you can see how this ram is starting to dig through. Does that make sense to everybody? So now you're gonna close her up and you're gonna put it right here on the lip. Go ahead. All right, let's get a good bite so you're halfway on that lip. Now let's go again.
You go.
So, perfect. So what'd you guys just watch? See how we're kind of sliding out there? Right, so if we have nothing here, we have one other option that we're going to do. Go ahead and close your ram up and just lay it right here. Randy, can I have the, where's Randy at?
Right here.
Hey, can I have the, whatchamacallit? The V-angle B-post, the V-angle base. So you're gonna pop that sucker off of there.
Pop this up.
Uh-huh. Takes a little bit of working. Yep, just pulls off. There you go. So now we're gonna slide this on. Right? Yep. So now you're gonna do the same thing. Only you're gonna dig this high side in. Go ahead and lift her up a second. You're gonna dig the high side in to right here. And let's see if we can get a bite right up into there. You got it. Watch your cylinder. Don't take your hand off the ram. Right, there you go. And stop right there. So you guys hear how much tension that's under, how it's really pushing? And all that means is all that steel is still connected, right? Everything on the far side is fighting against us. The rest of the firewall is all fighting against us. So that's probably, we can probably get a little bit more, but when you hear it start to really bog down, that means there's more steel that is stopping us from really getting this thing to move. Go ahead and put your hand on the cylinder and let's take her down. You got it. Terrific. All right. That's going to stay just like that. We can work around this patient as much as we need to. That dash is not going to come back down.